Okay, let's get start today's Hindu newspaper analysis of editorial section. Okay, unnecessary war and its grave portents. Okay, Q is paying a heavy price and a change of tack is needed where the cardinal objective is to save lives and Ukraine. ये cardinal मतलब प्रमुख majorly. Okay, majorly. Russia's attack on Ukraine, which began from the third week of February, shows no sign of ending. It has in the meantime led to a humanitarian crisis of gigantic proportions. Okay, gigantic proportions. The number of refugees streaming into countries adjoining Ukraine has revived memories and images of the vast numbers who sought refuge in Europe following the wars in Syria, Iraq and Northern Africa at the turn of the century. No one would have anticipated that a similar situation would arise just a few years later in Europe. The number of refugees has already approached and possibly even crossed the 2 million marks. Okay, and this is apart from the several thousands who have been killed inside Ukraine. It is a vivid demonstration of the calculousness of human nature, more so considering the underlying cause of the conflict. Okay, it is not just, it is most surprising. It is most surprising that nothing concrete is being done by powerful nations in Europe and across the world to try and end the conflict through a process of reconciliation and negotiation. Reconciliation मतलब सुलह, okay, सुलह समझौता, negotiation मतलब बातचीत करना. What conflict though has exposed is the irrelevance of the United Nations in dealing with the situations of this kind, becoming in many ways a modern day variant of the ill-fated League of Nations created at the end of the First World War. Okay. At the end of the First World War. Okay, more an economic concern. How more an economic concern? The primary concern of European nation and the United States appears to be the economic impact of the conflict rather than the human cost involved. Okay, consequent on the ongoing war in Ukraine, the International Monetary Fund has already issued a warning of the serious global impact of the war, which includes a surge energy and commodity prices, and being taken seriously by the US, almost all European nations and many countries across the globe. Leading Western economists have been pontificating on the economic consequences of the war and the ways and the means to reduce its impact on the global. Similar concern about the human cost of this unnecessary war are now here, to be found. Least of all to be found are suggestions on how best to end the conflict, or at least bring about a truce to reduce the human toll, that keeps steadily rising. Debating the sections route, how it may appear, tendencies to think that there are leading elements in the West who believe that by begging a prolonged sanctions war against Russia of the kind certainly being pursued, rather than seeking a compromise by which to the end of the genocide in Ukraine. An option had become available to checkmate Russia, which under Russian President Vladimir Putin was posing a threat to the West. Russia deserves to rightfully condemned for being in violation of the United Nations Charter and invading Ukraine. There are, however, far more efficacious means to checkmate Russian moves than persisting with a prolonged period of ever widening economic sanctions aimed at crippling Russia's economy. This may be an ideal way to achieve a regime change in Moscow, getting citizens to rise against the regime due to the shortages and other restrictions imposed by a sanctions regime. It is, however, not the best way to end a conflict in the shortest possible time and avert a greater human tragedy that a prolonged conflict entails. Sanctions, no doubt, do not will affect Russia's its economy, but it has its little impact on Russia's war effort. Meanwhile, Ukraine, or more particularly the citizens and the residents of the Ukraine, are innocent victims of the tussle between the West and the Russia. For the present, each new sanctions originally strengthened Russia's determination to compel Ukraine to cut its links with the West. No country within the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, also known as NATO, or even those outside it, is at present willing to send forces in support of Ukraine. समझ गए, ये कंडीशन है, कोई भी देश भेजने के सपोर्ट में नहीं है. Betting for the eventual collapse of the Russian state, while leaving Ukraine and its citizens to the not so tender mercies of the Russian juggernaut is tantamount, मतलब equal to becoming an accessory to genocide. Genocide मतलब नरसंहार. While concerns that the conflict in Ukraine may lead to a nuclear conflict do appear exaggerated, what is taking place is a tragedy of a kind that should not befall any nation. Any nation. Deconstructing Ukraine. The need to break the cycle of conflict. Deconstructing Ukraine. How? The need to break the cycle of conflict and in the death of innocent civilians. As also the destruction of property is the most vital issue at this juncture. There are no doubt certain special circumstances that make the problem inherently, matlab by birth, difficult and complicated. Ukraine, for instance, or for example, is not just another country as far as Russia is concerned. It was part of the erstwhile Soviet Union till 1991, and even at that time there were inherent contentions in relationship. Ukraine in turn has a long struggle with ethno-linguistic tensions, encompassing Western and Central Ukrainian and the Russian-speaking Eastern Ukrainian. Basically here you should be noted from here, eastern part of Ukrainian people are speaking Russian language. Western Ukraine is also largely Catholic, while the east is largely Russian Orthodox. Western region of the Ukraine is speaking belong from Catholic, and while the eastern part of Russia belong from Russian Orthodox. Even after its split from Russia in 1991, Ukraine has had problem in the maintaining a same balance of neutrality between Russia and the West. This is the major problem of the Russia's ethnicity. Aggravating the situation is the fact that Ukraine was, in a sense, a child of a series of color revolution that saw part of Russian Empire in 1991. When Russian influence was at its lowest ebb after the Second World War, from 1939 to 1944, matters got further aggravated when a pro-Russian president of Ukraine, who was elected in a relatively fair election, was ousted and had to flee the country. Following this, Russia intervened and annexed Crimea and took aggressive measure to reinforce Russian influence in Donetsk and Luhansk, region of eastern Ukraine, which have large Russian populations. The ties between Russia and Ukraine are thus, in a sense, both historical and political. The declared ambition of NATO is to deter Soviet expansionism, and hence any nation becoming a part of NATO is deemed by Russia to be anti-Russia. Russia has from time to time made it apparent matlab clear, that under no circumstances would it, countenance NATO membership for Ukraine, and that this would be perceived as a hostile act towards Russia. The politics of the war. How the politics of the war? As of now, Ukraine has become a pawn between Russia and the West. The war over Ukraine is is furthermore a reflection of the prevailing myopia of current leaders, who seem doomed to repeat past follies an extension of NATO by the inclusion of Ukraine at this time, a country with a complex history and polyglot composition, was hardly a compelling necessity at this juncture, but badly misleading. Misreading the situation. For even as the back as 2007 at the Munich Security Conference, where I was the Indian delegate, Mr. Putin had made it amply clear that NATO expansion represents a serious provocation that reduces the level of mutual trust. Since then, Mr. Putin has given no indication whatsoever of any change in his attitudes on this issue. This misreading of Mr. Putin personality has been a cardinal error. And Ukraine is paying a very heavy price. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who openly flaunts his pro-West inclination मतलब झुकाव, पश्चिम की ओर झुकाव है, is hardly a match for President Putin in terms of his strategy and tactics. While Mr. Zelensky employ grand standing as a strategy, Mr. Putin is a born fighter. Anyone who has had an opportunity to interact closely with Mr. Putin would never attempt to challenge him in manner that Mr. Zelensky has been doing these past few weeks. Currently an unlikely hero to his fellow countrymen. He could well go down in history as someone who has caused the ruin of the Ukraine. He had played his cards properly. He could have prevented the situation from reaching the present impasse and still maintained Ukrainian independence. To say the least, this is extremely unfortunate for Ukraine and much of the world as well. Press the pause button as change of track is clearly called for. At this time, the cardinal objective should be to save human lives and existence of Ukraine. Ukraine's ambitions to join NATO, which are in any case a distant dream, need to be put on the back burner. For the present, any extension of NATO further to east, should be given up, and instead of an effort made to rebuild some of the bridges that existed between Russia and the rest of the Europe at the beginning of the century. Alongside this, the best should hit the pause button on initiating color revolution, which have led to more conflict than peace in Europe or elsewhere. That is color revolution. More than anything else, leaders of nations and countries need to understand and assimilate the lessons of history to avoid the kind of critical mistakes that have been evident during the current Russia-Ukraine crisis and war. So this article is sufficient from here. Let's move to another article. Next article. Water management needs a hydro-social approach. Fresh water, this is most important from here. Fresh water resources are under stress. समझ गए? Fresh water resources जो हैं, स्वच्छ जल संसाधन जो है वो स्ट्रेस में है, दबाव में है. The principal driver being human activities in their various forms. How? What is gist of this article? The Global Water System Project, which was launched in 2003 as a joint initiative of the Earth System Science Partnership, also known as EWSP, and Global Environmental Change, also known as GEC program, epitomises global concern about the human-induced transformation of fresh water and its impact on the Earth system and society. The fact is that fresh water resources are under stress. The principal driver being human activities in their various forms. Fresh water valuation. In its fourth assessment report in 2007, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, also known as IPCC, highlighted the link between the societal vulnerability and modifications of water system. It is globally estimated that the gap between the demand for and supply of fresh water may reach up to 40% by 2030, also known as 2030, if present practices continue. You know already from here. The formation of the 2030 Water Resources Group in 2008 at the instances of the World Economic Forum, and the World Bank's Bank promotion of the group activity since 2018 is recognition of this problem and to help achieve the sustainable development goal on water availability and sanitation for all by 2030 SDG 6. Important for PT, UPSC examinations and PT, IS examinations. Formally, it is to ensure safe drinking water and sanitation for all, focusing on the sustainable management of water resources. Okay, waste water and ecosystem invited come up. The latest UN report, the latest UN World Water Development Report 2021, okay, stated valuing water has laid stress on the proper valuation of water by considering 5 interrelated perspectives. That is, one is water resources, second is water infrastructure, third is water services, fourth is water as an input to production and socio-economic development, and socio-cultural value of water. Okay, designing a comprehensive mix of divergent views about water along with ecological and environmental issues, okay, held by stakeholders group is necessary. In this context, a hydro-social cycle approach provides an appropriate framework. Okay, it repositions the natural hydrological cycle in a human nature interactive structure and considers water and society as part of a historical and a relational dialectical process. Interbasin transfer projects. The anthropogenic factors directly influence a freshwater system are the engineering of river channel irrigation and other conjunctive use of water. Widespread land use, land cover change in the aquatic habitat, and non-point sources pollution affecting water quality. The intra and interbasin transfer, also known as IBT, of water is a major hydrological intervention to rectify the imbalance in water availability due to naturally preventing unequal distribution of water resources within a given territory. Okay, there are several IBT, also known as interbasin transfer initiative across the world. One recent document indicates that there are 110 water transfer mega projects that have been executed, 34 projects or being planned, under construction 76 projects across the world. Okay, the National River Linking Project of India is one of those under construction. It is most important for PT examinations statement. Okay, the National River Linking Project of India is one of those under construction. These projects, if executed, will create artificial water resources courses that are more than twice the length of the Earth's equator and will transfer up 1,910 km cube of the water annually. Okay, they will re-engineer the hydrological system, considerable local, regional, and global ramifications based on a multi-country case study analysis. The World Wildlife Fund, World Fund for Nature, Wide Fund for Nature 2009 has suggested a cautious approach and the necessary to adhere to sustainability principles set out by the World Commission on Dams while taking up interbasin transfer, also known as IBT projects. Some of the key assumptions, what are कुछ महत्वपूर्ण पूर्व धारणाएं क्या है? Recently, interbasin transfer of water drew attention in India due to a provision made in Budget 2022 for Ken-Betwa River Link project, which is a part of the National River Linking Project, mooted in 1970 and revived in 1991. This decision raises larger questions. About hydrological assumptions and the use and management of fresh water resources in the country. We shall ponder over some of them. First, the basic premises of IBT, IBT, also known as interbasin transfer, to export water from the surplus basin to a deficit basin. However, there is contestation on the concept of the surplus and deficit basin itself, as the exercise is uncertainly hydrological. logical. Water demand within the donor basin by, factoring present, future and use, especially cropping patterns. Propulsion growth, urbanization, industrialization, socio-economic development, environmental flow, are hardly worked out. Besides this, rainfall in many surplus basins has been reported as declining. The status of the surplus basin may alter if these issues are considered. Second, there is concern about the present capacity utilization of water resources created in country. By 2016, India created irrigation potential for 112 million hectares, but the gross irrigated area was 93 million hectares. There is a 19% gap, which is more in the case of canal irrigation. In 1950 and 1951, canal irrigation used to contribute 40% of net irrigated area, but by 2014 and 2015, the net irrigated area under canal irrigation, came down to less than 24% of the country. Groundwater irrigation now covers 62.8% of the net irrigated area. The average water use of efficiency of irrigation project in India is only 38% against 50% to 60% in the case of developed countries. Because India is a developing country which has 38%, and developing countries it has 50% to 60% in the case of developing countries. Agriculture grey water use. Why it is most important from here? Some statement you may recall from here. Even at the crop level, we consume more water than the global water average. Rice and wheat, the two principal crops accounting more than 75% of agriculture production, use 2,850 meter cube tons and 1,654 tons of water respectively, against the global average of 2,291 tons and 1,334 tons in the same order. The agriculture sector uses a little over 90% of the total water use in India. And in industrial plants, consumption is 2 times to 3.5 times higher per unit of production of similar plants in other countries. Similarly, the domestic sector experiences a 30% to 40% loss of water due to leakage. Third, grey water is hardly used in our country. It is estimated that 55% to 75% of domestic water use turns to grey water depending on its nature of use, people's habits, climate conditions, etc. At present, average water consumption in the domestic sector in urban areas is 135 liters to 196 liters a head a day. Given the size of the India's urban population, 469 million estimated for 2021, the amount of a grey water production can be well imagined. If grey water production in the rural areas is considered, it will be a huge amount. The discharge of untreated grey water and industrial effluents into freshwater bodies is cause of concern. The situation will be further complicated if groundwater is affected. Apart from the inefficient use of water in all sectors, there is also reduction in natural storage capacity and deterioration in catchment efficacy. The issues are sources sustainability, renovation and maintenance of traditional water harvesting structures, grey water management infrastructure, groundwater recharge, increasing water efficiency and reuse of water, planning ahead. आगे की योजना क्या है? Looking into these issues may not be adequate to address all the problems. Nevertheless, these measures will help to reduce demand-supply gap in many places. And the remaining areas of scarcity can be catered to huge small-scale projects. The axiom that today's water system is co-evolving and the challenges are mainly management and governance has been globally well accepted. Water projects are politically charged and manifest an interplay of social relations, social power and technology. It is important to include less predictable variables, revise binary ways of thinking of either or and involve non-state actors in decision-making process. A hybrid water management system is necessary, where along with professionals and policymakers, the individual, a community and society have definite roles in the value chain. The challenges is not to be technocentric, but anthropogenic. Okay. So this article is most important for your water resources management. Okay. Let's move to another article. Challenges to Tamil Nadu urban future. Why it is most important from here? Okay. The state has to recalibrate, पुनर्स्थापित its welfare architecture and strengthen urban governance. How it is most important? In the 2022 urban local body elections held after over 10 years in Tamil Nadu, the Dravidian, Munetta Kazahom DMK and its allies won by sweeping majority. Chief Minister M.K. Stalin attributed this, resounding victory to the Dravidian model of governance, a relatively inclusive model that combines high economic growth with social development. Okay, basically high economic growth and social development model, also known as the Dravidian model of governance. Okay, especially in southern India. Okay, while these results are rightfully celebrated, the newly elected representative, must recount the states of this victory and the ongoing, imminent urban governance challenges. Okay, a post-agrarian scenario. What is a post-agrarian scenario? Okay, a significant factor that has fostered inclusive growth in the state is broad-based urbanization that is driven not only by the metropolitan cities but also by localized economic processes. Although exact urban population numbers, as of 2021 is still awaited, estimates suggest that more than half the state's population now lives in urban areas. Okay, it is in recognition of this urban growth and corresponding land use transformation and development needs that Tamil Nadu recently decided to constitute new urban development authorities in Madurai, Coimbatore, Tirupur and Hosur along with the lines of the Chennai Metropolitan Development Authority. The proportion of the urban population is expected to increase to 67% by 2036. Year 2036. According to some estimates, given that the agriculture sector is shrinking, सिकुड़ रहा है, and urban agglomerations are expanding. समझ गए? कुछ estimates के अनुसार agriculture sector है वो सिकुड़ रहा है और urban agglomerations expanding जो urban area है उसका बढ़ना हो रहा है. Okay, agriculture considered the backbone of Indian economy. You know already it is most important factor for your PT examinations in both examinations, PT exam for in both examinations, especially in IS and PCS. Okay, agriculture considered the backbone of the Indian economy is now only a residual sector in Tamil Nadu. According to the Situation Assessment Survey of Agriculture Household 2019, only 26% of rural households in the state directly depend on agriculture as the main source of livelihood in the state. In contrast, in Kerala, 33% of the rural households identify agriculture as their main source of livelihood, while 61% and 54% do in developed states like Gujarat and Maharashtra respectively. Therefore, if we conservatively assume that 50% of the Tamil Nadu is urbanized, 7 out of 8 households rely on the farmer in the non-farm sector in Tamil Nadu. In addition, the survey reveals that a majority of the households that reported agriculture as their main source of income also rely on wage labor to complement their households in income. As much as 62% of farm household income comes from wage labor in Tamil Nadu, as against 43% in Gujarat and 45% in Maharashtra. This is perhaps an indicator of how much diversification has occurred, even within farm households in the state. The Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, also known as Maganrega, is a critical source of livelihood, particularly for landless laborers and marginal landowners who together constitute over 92% of the all rural household in the state. Therefore, when a village gets designated as urban, landless laborers suffer the most. Change of designation of land from rural to urban might benefit landowners from increased land uses. However, this is not the case for those who are landless. Though the main reasons for urban growth in Tamil Nadu are the absorption of villages into the nearest urban jurisdiction and the designation of existing villages as census town. There has been some resistance from village panchayat heads, against classifying their villages as urban, simply so that they can constitute to avail of the benefits from Maganrega program. Laborers displaced from rural and agrarian sectors are not being adequately absorbed by urban sectors. The main driver of employment generation in urban areas is the low-end service sector and construction. The share of those employed in construction in the total workforce has more than doubled between 2005 and 2019 according to the Periodic Labor Force Survey 2019 and 20. While the proportion of those in manufacturing has been stagnating around 20% of more than a decade. In comparison, Gujarat increased its share of the workforce in manufacturing to 20% in 2019 from 16% in 2004 and 2005. The quality of jobs available is also notable, given that 63% of non-agricultural enterprises are informal. The pandemic has only further informalized the labor force and made it harder to access jobs. In other words, the deportation rate from traditional occupations in the state is higher than the rate at which secure employment is guaranteed urban sector. While this deportation has weakened the caste basis of occupations, it has not ensured secure opportunities in modern sectors. To its credit, the Tamil Nadu government has announced a pilot urban employment scheme inspired by the Maganrega. However, this is set to cover select corporation zones, municipalities and town panchayats, and a mere expense of rupees 100 crore without any support from the union government. A demand-driven guarantee-based approach to ensure urban employment is an immediate need for urban centers, especially given the adverse effect of the pandemic on employment. With more and more people moving to urban centers in search of employment, we are likely to witness urbanization of poverty as well. The state has to reckon with the need to provide affordable housing, healthcare, subsidized food and fuel through the public distribution system, among others. Necessary social measures. This will entail expanding and strengthening capacities of the urban governance structures, which are less participatory compared to the rural panchayat institutions. And urban grievance redress mechanism must be set up compulsorily. The union government's role. What is union government roles from here? The union government has been encroaching policy spaces where state level protections have been inserted for citizens. For instance, Tamil Nadu has 34 welfare boards for informal workers. As across multiple sectors, there are the primary mechanism through which workers receive formal benefits, including pensions, maternity benefits, compensation in the event of an accident or death, educational scholarship for children of workers and skill trainings. These boards, a vital aspect of the state's inclusive development, are now under threat from the union government new labor law, which seeks to consolidate and universalize provisions for all laborers. In addition to the ideological basis and centralizing tendencies of the union government, many national policy interventions also suffer from rural bias. The Jal Jeevan Mission, for instance, which Tamil Nadu majority urban population will not benefit from here. The union government aggressive one size fits all strategy does not do justice to okay specific development patterns. Even as it is losing potential funds from the union government, the state has not been raising its our resources optimally through property taxes. For instances, member of the Economic Advisory Council to the Chief Minister Arvind Subramaniam pointed out that despite being the most urbanized state in India, Tamil Nadu property tax collection is only rupee 2,500 crore, much lower than the earnings of less urbanized states like Maharashtra and Karnataka. In sum, Tamil Nadu need to take a step to keep up the rate at which urbanization is taking place, recalibrate its welfare architecture and strengthen urban governance, while collectively bargaining with the union government to reclaim its rightful budget shares and policy priorities. Let's move to another article. A new vision for old age care. A formal approach to homes for the elderly is an important policy and planning issue for India. What is this and why it is most important from here? As India, let's get started. As India becomes increasingly urbanized and families break up into smaller units, homes for elderly having sprung up. The care of elderly people is managed by a set of professionals, or voluntary organizations, interested in, geriatric services. The number of such care homes is rising rapidly in urban and semi-urban India. These homes are either paid or offer free or subsidized service. Typically, such homes are run by NGO, religious or voluntary organizations with the support from the government or by local philanthropists. They provide accommodation, timely care, and a sense of security for their residents. However, the quality of service varies as these homes lack regulatory oversight. Many homes lack clearly established standard operating procedure, and their referral path to health care informal. There is an urgent need to understand the quality of life at such institutions, including the impact of these homes on the mental health and their residents, a rapidly growing section. A formal approach to homes for the elderly is an important policy and planning issue for India. The UN World Population Aging Report notes that India's aging population, those aged 60 and above, is projected to increase to nearly 20% by 2050 from 8% by now. By 2050, also known as 2050, the percentage of elderly people will increase by 326%, with those aged 80 years and above to increase 700%, making them the fastest growing age group in India. With this future in mind, it is essential that our policy framework and social responses are geared to meet this reality. A recent set of research papers from Hyderabad focusing on equality of health in homes for the elderly had some interesting insights. The papers highlights the fact that good intentions and a sense of charity are often inadequate when it comes to addressing the basic health needs of their elderly residents. These papers are outcomes of the Hyderabad ocular morbidity in elderly statuary, also known as HOMES, by the L.B. Prasad Eye Institute, that was primarily meant to understand the vision needs to elderly residents of such homes. About 30% of the residents who were part of the study over 1,500 participants from 40 homes and a vision impairment of some sorts, but nearly 90% of this vision impairment could be addressed by simple, relatively low cost health interventions, issuing better eye glasses or cataract surgery. The study also found some unseen effects of vision impairment. Many people prone to depression. In fact, those with both vision and hearing impairment had a rate of depression that was 5 times higher than those without. Our homes building and social environment are not built, okay, keeping the elderly or people with disabilities in mind. As people age and their motor skills weaken, they are at a greater risk of falling down and hurting themselves. Having an impairment increases this risk. Instead of planning for accessible and elderly-friendly structure that allows them to operate safely, we reduce their mobility. People with functional skills are asked to stay, okay, away from daily tasks like cooking, swimming, cleaning, washing up. This reduces their sociability, their sense of independence and well-being, are leading up to the mental health issues and depression. The state of homes. Okay, the state of homes for the elderly today offers us some hanging fruit we can address easily. Build formal pathways for basic health screening between such homes and public health facilities. This can include screenings for blood sugars, blood pressure, periodic vision and hearing screening, and a simple questionnaires to assess mental health. Such interventions are inexpensive. Think of all the motorcycle operated screenings outside public grounds for mornings, bulkers, and could go a long way in identifying health issues and offering support. The next step would be to build formal pathways to address any health issues that such screening identify. Many hospitals like public NGO run and private care can help. Public policy support. Crucial though will be the need for robust public policy to support homes of the elderly. Health institutions will also need to offer a comprehensive set of packages that tailored for the elderly, not piecemeal solution for diabetes, cardiology or cancer. For example, what happens once R is provided? Homes for the elderly must be guided again by policy to make their facilities, building and social empowerment in social environment elderly disabled friendly. Design, architecture and civic facilities must be thought from ground group, and these innovations must be available for all residents, not just those living in expensive ones. There are lessons here for society as a whole, but as they say, let's take one step at a time. So these are major important articles from this sections. Let's see small sections. Tradition and formality. Leaders wrangling should not lead to politicizing of constitutional norms, which is not most important, because many articles. Putin should pass the bar and start talks on Zelensky compromise proposals. ठीक है भाई, अच्छा है. Okay, let's move to an word section of this. Okay, 1 dead, 13 injured in J&K blast is not most important. Word. Russia keeps pressure on Ukraine cities. EU tightens sanctions on Russia, blacklist lawmakers. Ukraine ban exports of wheat, coarse oats and other staples. Antarctic explorer, Shackleton's ship discovered after a century. समझ गए? Let's move to a text and context of this section. Reviving the inland water support system, transport system, for the northeast, and payment solution for the future phone users. The electoral appeal of programmatic policies of welfare. What is this? Reviving the inland water transport system for the northeast. What is gist? The docking of the Yambilal Bahadur Shastri carrying 200 MT of food grains for the EFCI has rekindled hope for the inland water transport system in the northeast. The vessel passed through Bhagalpur, Manihari, Sahibganj, Farakka, Kolkata, Haldia, okay, in India. Okay, Sirajganj, Chilmari in Bangladesh and again in India on inland, but okay, NW2 through Dhubari and Jogi Joba covering 2,350 kilometers. Transportation of cargo service through waterways in Bangladesh is possible because of the protocol on inland water transit and okay trade signed between the two countries. What is the story so far? Okay, how is the transport of cargo services through waterways in Bangladesh possible? Okay, the story. A month after setting sail on the Ganga from Patna, the Yambilal Bahadur Shastri carrying 200 metric tons of food grains for the Food Corporation of India, also known as FCI, docked at Guwahati Pandu port on the southern bank of the Brahmaputra on the March 6. The occasion is believed to have taken inland water transport on two of India's largest river system to the future. Why is a Ganga Brahmaputra cargo vessel in focus? बताइए भाई. There is nothing unusual about a cargo vessel setting sail from or docking at any river port, but a host of VIP lined up to the receive Yambilal Bahadur Shastri, a cargo vessel operated by the Inland Waterways Authority of India at Guwahati Pandu port on March 6. They included Union Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways Sarvanand Sonowal, Assam Chief Minister Hemant Biswa Sarma, Guwahati MP Queen Oza, and Inland Waterways Authority of India Chairperson Sanjay Bandyopadhyay. The vessel had on Friday 5 started sailing from Patna on National Highway Waterways first, River Ganga. It passed through Bhagalpur, Manihari, Sahibganj, Farakka, Teribeni, Kolkata, Haldia, Hemnagar in India, Kulana, Narayanganj, Sirajganj, Chilmari in Bangladesh, and again to India on National Waterways 2, NW2, River Brahmaputra, through Dhubari and Jogi Hopa, covering 2,300 kilometers. The docking of the vessel carrying 200 metric ton of food grains for the FCI has rekindled for the hope of inland waterway system, which is the landlocked northeast dependent on heavily before India's independence in 1947. Is the first such shipping of cargo. This shipping of cargo from Patna to Pandu via Bangladesh was a FCI pilot project, Food Corporation of India. A similar experiment was carried out in 2018 when 2,000 tons bargages carrying 1,233 tons of bagged fly has traveled 2,085 kilometers from Bihar Kahalgaon to Pandu for more than a month. A private firm based procured a fly ash from the National Thermal Power Corporation plant in Bihar for use in its cement factory in Assam and Meghalaya. But the Food Corporation of India, but the FCI cargo is expected to lead regular services between the National Waterways 1 and National Waterways 2, heralding a new age of inland water transport for the Northeast. According to Inland Waterways Authority of India, the process has already started within a 252 MT cargo, metric ton cargo destination or destined for Eastern Assam, Numlikar biorefinery having reached Central Assam, Silhat from Haldia in West Bengal in February 15. Another vessel MB Ram Prasad Bismil within two barges named Kalpana Chawla and APJ Abdul Kalam started its voyage from Haldia on February 17 as expected to reach Pandu soon. How would regular inland water service impact the Northeast? Around independence, Assam per capita income was highest in the country primarily because of access for its tea, timber, coal and oil industries, to seaports on the Bay of Bengal via the Brahmaputra and the Barak River southern Assam system. Ferry services continued sporadically, continually after 1947, but they stopped after the 1965 bar with the Pakistan, as Bangladesh used to be East Pakistan then. Okay, used to East Pakistan then. The scenario changed after the river routes. The scenario changed after the river routes were cut off and rail and road through the Chicken Neck, a narrow strip in West Bengal, become the costlier alternatives. The start of cargo movement through the Indo-Bangladesh Protocol, also known as IBP, routes is going to provide business community a viable economic and ecological alternatives. Seamless cargo transportation has been a necessity for the Northeast, Mr. Sonowal said. India has invested 80% of rupees 305.84 crore to improve the navigability of the two stretches of the IBP Indo-Bangladesh Protocol routes. He attributed the rejuvenation of the historical trades route by Bangladesh to the PM Gati Shakti initiative envisaged to slowly convert into the northeast into a connectively hub and ramp of the swift movement of the cargo on the Brahmaputra, which meets the Ganga in Bangladesh. These rivers are called Jamuna and Padma in that country. You know, it is geographical question from here. How did the barter cargo service through Bangladesh come about? The resumptions of cargo transport service, through the waterways in Bangladesh has come at a cost since the protocol on inland waterway transit trade was signed between the two countries. India has invested 80% of rupees 305.84 crore to improve the navigability of the two stretches of the Indo-Bangladesh Protocol routes. Sirajganj, Daikohaba and Asuganj, Jakiganj in Bangladesh. The 7-year dredging project on these two stretches till 2026 is expected to yield seamless navigation to the northeastern region. Inland Waterways Authority of India officials said distance between the National Waterways 1 and National Waterways 2 reduced by almost 1,000 km once the India-Bangladesh Protocol routes are declared for the navigation. The government has also undertaken the Jal Marg Vikas project with an investment of rupees 4,600 crore, augment of capacity of National Waterways for sustainable movement of vessels, being up to rupees 2,000 tons. A few cases remain, though sailors who made the cargo trips possible have had difficulties steering clear of fishing nets and angry fishermen in Bangladesh. These hiccups will get sorted out with time, official says. What is the latest RBI initiative? UPI 123 Pay. UPI 123 Pay. How it will facilitate financial transaction without internet connectivity? समझ गए? UPI 123 will work. Will work without internet connectivity. What is story so far? On March 8, the Reserve Bank of India launched a new unified payment interface, also known as UPI payment solution for future phone users. Dubbed, जिसका नाम दिया है UPI 123 Pay. UPI, which was introduced in 2016, has become one of the most used digital payment platform in the country. The volume of the UPI transaction has already reached rupees 76 lakh crore in the current year, compared to rupees 41 lakh crore in financial year 2021. RBI Governor Shashikant Das said. However, at the present efficient access to UPI is available largely via smartphones, the central bank noted. How does the new solution work? The new UPI-based services is designed to bring the digital payment platform closer to a significant number of featured mobile subscribers in the country, which is estimated to be more than 40 crores. UPI 123 Pay will maternally improve the options for such users to access UPI UPI who could earlier access the digital transaction platform through the USD based process using the short code, okay, of dash 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 99, which according to RBI is not popular. The USD based process is considered okay, cumbersome, with users required to send multiple messages and charge for the same, and not supported by all mobile services providers. T. Ravi Shankar, RBI Deputy Governor, noted, with the UPI 123 pay features, phone users will be required to go through an onboarding process where they have to link their bank account to their feature phone and then set a UPI pin using their debit card for authenticating transactions. Once they have completed this initial process, users will be able to use the new UPI facility for person to person as well as merchant transactions, among others, through one of the four distinct payment options that does not require any internet connections. The launch of UPI 123 Pay makes facilities under UPI accessible to that sections of society which was so far been excluded from the digital payment system landscape. In that way, it is promoting great amount of financial solution inclusion in our economy. How will users will make without internet? The new API payment system offers users options to make payment without internet connectivity, interactive voice response, also known as IVR, app-based functionality, missed call facility, and proximity sound-based payments. Using the IVR option, users would be required to initiate a secured call from their features phone to a predetermined IVR number and complete UPI onboarding formalities to be able to start making financial transactions, like money transfer, mobile recharge, EMI payment, balance check, among others. The missed call facility will allow users to access their bank account and platform route transactions such as receiving, transferring funds, regular purchases, bill payment, etc. by giving a missed call on the number displayed at the merchant outlets. The customer will receive an incoming call to authenticate the transaction by the entering UPI pin. They could also install an app on their features phone through which several UPI functions available on smartphones will be available on their feature phone, except scan and pay features which is currently not available. Finally, they could utilize the proximity sound-based payment options, which uses sound-based to enable contactless offline and proximity data communication on any device. Do other countries have something similar? Mobile payment systems that do not relay internet connectivity like once based on USD or SMS technology were introduced many years ago and are still being used in some developing countries. In fact, one of the major mobile payment system globally was introduced by Vodafone's Canadian associate Safaricom in 2007. M-Pesa, which is Africa's leading mobile money service, operates across the Democratic Republic of Congo, also known as DRC, Egypt, Ghana, Kenya, Lesotho, Mozambique, and Tanzania, with 51 million customers making over $314 billion in transactions per year through the service, according to Vodafone. According to Vodafone. Let's move to one last section. The electoral appeal of programmatic policies of welfare, analyzing the Aam Aadmi Party electoral strategy in 2020, health assembly elections, Delhi Assembly elections, and it how rose above identitarian interests. What is this? Patronage policies focuses on the welfare of particular target groups, which limits welfare provision and electoral supports to its circles. Programmatic policies of welfare provides goods and services to a universal public devoid of identification divisions. In Aam Aadmi Party in 2020, Delhi Assembly elections was able to use PPW to influence voting behavior and enable a political platform where electoral issues can move beyond particularistic ethnic appeals. The electorate in Delhi demanded use-based, accountable, and corruption-free politics. Other factors such as absence of caste-based political mobilizations, larger role for bureaucrats in operating the programs and policies in elected government of Delhi, and an expensive information dissemination system have been influential is generating these demands. Okay. So this concludes of today's Hindu newspaper analysis. So thanks for watching.